What's good with YouTube? You already know Big Flocka with the convict's perspective. I'm gonna smash, dash, and slide on through with a little bit of energy. Please hit the like, subscribe, comment, do all those things to help support this channel, man, and hit that bell notification for future fire content, man. So I got an old video. I'm moving over from Real Talk with Flocka. What's about it? This is how they pronounce it. Spell it Mexikanemi. Mexikanemi, which is a form of the Mexican mafia over there in Texas. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of details about the Texas Emmy or Mexikanemi, so you guys can get a better understanding. And we're going to talk about a murder that they committed in the county jail, alleged murder. But first and foremost, their whole purpose is that they follow under their own rules in Texas, and they also feel that they're in the heart of Aztlan and that they represent the symbol of the Aztecs. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, the native land of Mexican. So a lot of things they represent is within the Aztlan culture, but they just kind of misapply it. You know what I mean? Now they have captains. Okay, they have a president, vice president, generals, captains, and whatnot, and soldiers. So they have a similar structure from what I've told people who've done time with them, a similar structure as the NF. So basically, they realign their own procedures, their own rules, their own symbols, and whatnot. Now, I've heard that maybe the MA originally originated from someone that came from California, but it's a total different entity as well as Arizona. For instance, the Arizona MA will run with the Cali MA in the federal prison system. The Texas, right, Mexikanemi, which is how they separate themselves by that name, they will actually run with all the Texas cars and as well as Norteño cars, believe it or not. Yeah, it's a little bit different in the feds, man. But they have rules, a lot of rules. They have mandatory sacrifices, responsibilities. They have internal, external ways to deal with conflicts. And so, they have their own, set procedures, man. They have a constitution, and they have guidelines that they have to follow. They call each other carnales as well. Mostly all these Latino prison organizations, they call themselves Latinos. Okay, so I don't know a lot. They've been responsible for a lot of fucking muertes out there in Texas, man. They've been at war with the TS and whatnot, man. But a lot of these groups have reached established agreements with the NF and the feds. And see, the way they do it is they actually sign fucking peace treaties and shit like that. It's a trip. They have one where I think it's a TS and NF where they signed a treaty in the feds. And Mad Dog was one of the persons that signed it. It's kind of a trip, huh? But yeah, we're gonna be discussing a murder that this organization committed. They have the same type of guidelines as far as similar to the NF. The NF still has a little bit more structure, more organizational type of regiment procedures, but they're probably one of the closest ones. You know what I'm saying? And that's the Latin Kings are more closer to what Norteños would be. You see what I'm saying? So the Texas Mexikanemi, they're more like the NF, and then the Latin Kings are more like what you would consider Norteños, kind of like. It's kind of a trip, man. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this video. It's a re-upload, but I figured I'd add a little something just to make this video a little bit different, man, and show you guys a little bit more about the Texas Emmy. One more thing, I was able to determine that apparently the Texas Emmy was established in 1984 in Huntsville. Go figure, man. I guess someone that was serving time, decided to recruit different people, like I said, but then they put their own twist to it. Same thing happened with the Land Kings that went from, the heart of King Nation to New York, as well as the BGF who went from California to Baltimore. They made minor modifications. But as always, enjoy the video. Not just for tapping in. Have a good day. We got an interesting topic. This is kind of a current event that just occurred in January of 2022, where the Mexican Mafia took out one of their own in the county jail out there in Bexar County, which is the surrounding area of San Antonio, Texas. Just for those viewers that don't understand too much about the Texas Emmy, also referred to as a Mexikanemi, they have a whole different way of spelling their name. They have no type of really association or affiliation with the California branch Emmy, even though that currently I guess there's supposed to be a truce between the two groups. They were at war at one time. But this faction, man, is the most similar faction to the Nuestra Familia. They have a set constitution with guidelines, a chain of command that has generals, captains, and so forth. So they kind of almost run parallel as far as with the rigorous type of expectations and demands within their people. Okay, and they're pretty much a force to be reckoned with. So an individual gets to the county jail. His name is Vincent Garcia, August of 2021. Now I don't have any confirmation whether he was still active at that time or whatnot. All I know is by January 2022, excuse me, he had requested to one of the sheriffs that, look, I'm not feeling comfortable in this unit. I need to get out of here. So raised a lot of red flags. And see, the county jails, right? This is kind of universal with how they deal with prison organizations or prison gangs, is that instead of spreading them out to all kinds of different units, they try to put them all in one unit. Therefore, it prevents them from recruiting. It prevents them from causing havoc on other parts of the jails or prison facilities. They still have a validation process. They haven't got really out the shoe yet, from my understanding. Okay, so this occurs. They end up pulling the individual out. And from reading the reports and accounts and news clippings, it says that he was in a picket, which I'm not too familiar with, but it's almost like a bubble that's between the jail and the pod. It's almost like a separation area, like right there. And usually the lights, show whether if any doors are open or so forth. And that's common in most county jails because most everything is push buttons. And see, there could be easily some type of electrical malfunctions. I mean, certain people used to put cardboards in the doors or toothpaste and things to enable the doors to look like they're closed, and therefore they can pop the door open. There's all kinds of different things too. I mean, I've seen people hit the doors at certain locations and it kicks it out as well. And it's kind of similar to what they used to do in the Santa Clara County Jail was. We used to do that, or what we used to do is in the 4th floor, which is a hole, we used to close our door and then we'd go hide in the showers. And therefore, when that person came out that we wanted to get, we'd get that ass. That's why in Santa Clara County Jail, they started to call us over the intercom to make sure that we were in the cell. So this occurs. They're talking to him. One sheriff is. And he looks up and notices one of the lights is on, which signifies that one of the doors is open. And out of nowhere, he sees 2 inmates rushing at him and the inmate that he's talking to. So he proceeds to get out from the picket area that separates itself from the module, and he locks the door and he leaves that inmate out there. They proceeded to assault this individual, stab him, beat him, and so forth. And in the process of this happening, I think at 7:07 on January 31st or January 30th, 2022, this inmate was found dead. Another casualty to gang violence in the system. And this just goes to show what type of oath it is when you commit yourself to any one of these organizations. It doesn't matter if it's NF, MA, AB, and so forth, Texas Syndicate. All these groups have different types of rules and regulations. And if you align yourself within that type of, within one of these structures, you know what I'm saying, there's going to be consequences when you leave, especially if you return back to jail or prison, and, when I read this case, I'm trying to figure out that, how did this happen to where this individual knew that he was a potential target and they pulled him out, and at the same time he gets hit. It almost looks like an inside job by the county jail sheriffs, which is in Texas is a little bit different out there, man. You either got redneck cops or you got raza cops that may be sympathetic. I just found it kind of coincidental that the same day that he said that he feared for his life, or he didn't say it in those terms, said he felt uncomfortable. Let me requote that. Is the same day that these individuals' doors popped open and gave them access to get this dude. And at the same time, the sheriff pulled himself out and locked the door and let that inmate out there. To me, that's straight red flags. It wouldn't be the first time that correctional staff have actually set up inmates. Corcoran Shoe, they used to take individuals that were giving other correctional officers headaches and so forth. They put them in a cell with someone who either was a killer or had been known to be a booty bandit. That stuff has occurred. There's been other incidents to where they pulled out one homeboy and put him on a yard with 5 Southsiders or 5 Woods, knowing damn well what was going to happen. See, these are the type of tactics that are employed. And apparently the sheriff's department or Department of Corrections or whatnot, whatever agency it may be that's controlling that facility, have always found loopholes to cover for each other. So when something happens and it's like, oh, this is what happened, I had to secure myself. And they always justified that, Their whole priority, first and foremost, is to secure the institution. And if they can't secure the institution or the incident, they have to secure themselves. So I kind of find this whole matter kind of ironic, how everything occurred within the same day. You know what I mean? This individual approached staff that day and gets hit that day. So did he really approach staff, or did they pull him out and pretty much leave him to the dogs to go feed? These are the type of things that happen in prison, man. And this is why we try to convey a message that, I bet you this individual, Vincent Garcia, I bet you he at one time was a firm believer in whatever he was associated with. These individuals that committed the hit, Brandon Lerma and Ernesto Tavera, these individuals are apparently firm believers in this as well. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to really play the tape out, man, when you look at your life and understand that maybe 5, 10, 20 years from now, the life that you're living may not be the life that you want to continue to live. And see, that's the biggest mistake individuals make, is that they don't have foresight to the future. They live in the now, and in the now is being a gang member. They don't think about having a family. They don't think about making changes out there. They don't think about that they want to be free out there in the streets. Because if you're going to live that path as a gang member, there's nothing good that's going to come out of it, to be honest with you, man. You're going to end up in prison. You're going to end up in jail. You're going to be severed from your families. And that's the reality of it, man. The proof is in numerous stories that we show. And I don't try to take a anti-stance towards any of these organizations, any gang members or so forth. I'm trying to lace people up to give them the information to potentially make changes to where they don't have to go down that path. There's nothing wrong with some of these youngsters gangbanging when they're young, and we'll decide to change their life at a certain age. There comes a time when some of us are going to grow up, and we're going to actually have a very more clear view of what that life leads you to. For those that want to continue down that path, that are fully committed, expect to be doing life. You know what I mean? Expect to be on death row. Expect to get deemed by your own people. These are the things that all occur within these groups. You're already dealing with people who are already in there for crimes, for being shady, for being scandalous, for being cutthroat, for being killers, for being money makers, whatever it may be. There's no loyalty out there in this lifestyle. There's no integrity in this lifestyle. Show me a criminal lifestyle that has integrity and respect. There is none. Because as much as you may try, there's always going to be those that are going to venture off a different course. And a lot of times we're going to be subject to different things like betrayal, corruption, and disloyalty. And that's why you have such a pattern of individuals that decide to walk away from that life. And so the message behind what I'm saying is, make that decision for yourself now. Play the tape out. Look at the realities before you fully commit yourself to something. Doesn't mean we're not going to make the wrong choices at times and maybe end up in jail or prison. That's the reality of life. Circumstances sometimes don't prevent us from making certain choices. Not everybody has it easy or has the support or resources, but don't let that be an excuse not to change your life. I'm pretty sure this individual, Vincent Garcia, apparently either he was crossed up politically, he fucking told, he did something, who knows? But apparently he was okay when he got there in August. So from August to January, something transpired. Something changed to where he feared for his life. He didn't say it in those terms, as far as according to the deputy. But when you say you're uncomfortable living in a unit, that means you know that there's some issues coming your way. You get what I'm saying? And see, this is the lesson too as well. For those of you that decide to walk away from this lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? And if you're walking away from your lifestyle, that means you are seeking change. You're seeking to be a different person than that gangster. So if you commit crimes still after trying to walk away from it, these are the type of repercussions and reprisals that you may be subject to. This is the reality. This is the truth. Anyways, this is a quick spill. I found this article interesting, man. I'm going to try to drop something on part 2 of the history, maybe in a couple hours from now. Keep it moving. Keep it positive. It's your boy Flacco. I'm out.